Don't sound
I
too
still have a
excited.
1-game lead on you.
You have a 1-game lead on me, but
Because
I
you pick
did.
only one different game and then you pick all the same games. Is you pick second the whole time and then you're like, oh my god, I came back.
Do you want me to pick first this week?
Yeah, I would like you to pick first this week.
Okay, I will pick first. So this week, Sunbelt Weekly Pick'em, Bennett brings a 40-9 record into it. I bring a 39-10 record into it. The only pick we differed on last week was Georgia State and Coastal Carolina. Georgia State jumped up to number 3 in my power rankings after that amazing win. And with that amazing win from the Panthers, I get 1 game closer to Bennett in terms of our Sunbelt Weekly Pick'em. So this week, we're starting things off with ODU at Marshall. Wouldn't it be one of the funniest things in the world if ODU went into Huntington, West Virginia and pulled out this win?
It would be.
It's not going to happen, but Marshall will win, but that would be hilarious.
Going with Marshall here. I could see this one being much closer than the 14-point spread.
I agree, because while Marshall is number 1 in my Sunbelt power rankings that you can check out over at jmusportsnews.com, they do have some offensive questions. If there is one kryptonite to this team, it's a bad offense, but their defense is just so good and they are so well coached that it seems like it doesn't matter. But if this is like a 24, like if Marshall can only get to like 17 or 24 points, ODU may have a legit chance at just mucking it up enough.
Yeah, I could see it being a very mucky game.
Louisiana, Minnesota.
Minnesota,
sorry.
Yeah, Minnesota choked last week against Northwestern, which was an embarrassing loss, but still Minnesota.
Yeah, but Louisiana's not very good either.
I don't think so.
This is a fun game. Arkansas State, UMass. This is a sickos game. Yeah. I'm going to go Arkansas State. I think they finally got their offensive woes fixed through the first 8 quarters of the season. I think they were outscored like 100-3, something insane like that. They put up 44 against Southern Miss. So I think Arkansas State may have found something offensively. Give me the Red Wolves.
I'm taking UMass here.
Okay.
I think UMass finds a way to get it done.
It is in Amherst, so worth noting. Coastal at Georgia Southern.
I might be all in on Georgia Southern now.
So Georgia Southern coming off of a win against Ball State where they allowed Ball State to only score 3 points. They held them in Muncie, Indiana to no touchdowns. This is a team that I've been saying it. I think Bennett's been saying it. Offensively, they're the best in the conference. Defensively is where they're going to lose a lot of games this season. If they can recreate at least half of what they were able to do against Ball State, Georgia Southern is a real threat to win the East. And I don't think Coastal is actually that good.
That's probably fair.
Troy at Georgia State. You already know who I'm going with.
Yeah. Man, this is a tough one. This is a really tough one.
It's in Georgia State. They aren't known to have a good home field advantage, though.
Oh, gosh. This is a tough game. I'm gonna take Georgia State. I think they're for real in a scary way.
Darren Granger, one of the best quarterbacks in the entire league.
Yeah.
Marcus Carroll is averaging 5.2 yards per carry and 2 touchdowns a game.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, Texas State at Southern Miss.
Southern Miss just lost to Arkansas State. They're going to beat Texas State. I need to see a little more from the party in the end zone boys before I believe.
Whoa!
Yes.
No, this is all Texas State. Southern Miss. Have you seen the vibes of Southern Miss fans?
Probably pretty bad.
Yeah, they are absolutely terrible. And that means the vibes on this team are bad. Frank Gore Jr. can't do anything to reignite this Southern Miss school. Texas State is going to win in blowout fashion.
Okay.
App State, ULM.
App State in this one, they could sort of like a JMU. They could be 4-0 with wins over UNC and Wyoming. Instead, they have 2 heartbreaking losses in those and are 2-2. I still think they're one of the best teams in the league, and I think they beat a crappy ULM team.
Yeah, it's a good thing those 2 losses for App State came in non-conference because they are still right in the mix of it in the standing. So it really doesn't matter all that much. I'm right there with you, App State. I'm very interested to see the quarterback situation when Ryan, I believe his name is Ryan Berger.
Yeah.
When he comes back from injury.
I like Aguilar, but we'll see what they do.
Because I think Aguilar has been able to move the offense a lot better than Berger was against Gardner-Webb. South Alabama, they travel to Harrisonburg, a noon kick on ESPNU. Who do you got, Jaguars or Dukes? This is a big moment for you, Bennett.
I had South Alabama 31-24 in the preseason predictions, and I'm sticking with it.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it's some of it's an emotional hedge, but I don't know. Like, there's so many positives that JMU's had the last 3 weeks, but there's also a bunch of negatives. I feel like South Alabama, after a really disappointing loss to Central Michigan, where I thought they were the better team, is going to be fired up, and they play well on the road. It just feels like a spot where they're going to maybe put themselves right back in that Sun Belt West driver's seat.
Okay. So after not scoring 40 points through the first 3 weeks of the season, the Dukes scored 45 last week. I believe they keep that going with a 42-38 win over South Alabama this week. I think we will see knockout blows from each team through the passing attack. And I think both secondaries will get a few big plays. I think JMU comes up with one more interception or forced fumble to seal the game late, very similar to how they did against Utah State.
You see the total for this game?
What is it?
Like 49.5 at some. Doesn't that seem very low?
Yeah, it does. What would you put it at though? Like 60s? Yeah, I mean, both teams are going to probably hit 30.
I would do like mid 50s or something, but it's one where it's like, is there a little something out there, a little information that I don't realize? Like, is this going to end up being a 24-17? The defenses look the way we thought maybe they would in the preseason.
I mean, Troy and JMU were in a 16-14 game. So like JMU's defense has shown that it can hold an opponent to only 2 touchdowns, but
I don't know if the secondary steps up, it could really change the outlook for JMU pretty dramatically if they play well in this game.
I mean, even if they just play like a half a step better
adequately, yeah,
it'd be insane. Do you want to talk a little bit like what's happening around the Sun Belt? You put that in the outline, so I don't know if you want to talk a little around
I put that in, and then we kind of hit on it decently during the pick. I was just saying the East playing at a really high level, and I think it's kind of hard to overstate how up in the air the East is. Like, I could convince myself that everyone other than Old Dominion is going to win the East.
Yeah, I mean, again, I will shamelessly plug my power rankings here. So in the first 8 of the power rankings out of 14, 6 of them are Sun Belt East teams. Marshall, JMU, Georgia State are 1, 2, 3. And then Southern, App State, and Coastal are 6, 7, 8.
It's fascinating.
And I think the gap between 8 with Coastal and 9 with Texas State is quite large.
Yeah, the West, I'm still workshopping this, but I think I just don't even care about the West. There's some good teams. I like South Alabama. I like Troy. Southern Miss has like good fans and stuff. But man, if you told me like, oh, the West drifted out to the ocean and now they're on an island and the Sun Belt's only going to be the East, I'd be like, cool. I don't care about there's no emotional attachment to South Alabama for me. The East, they have those regional rivalries that I like, right? Some of these teams aren't in the middle of SEC country, so their fans actually care, and it's not like their 4th favorite college team. Just saying, out on the West.
JMU is some Harrisonburg's people 4th favorite college team behind Bridgewater, Virginia Tech, and UVA.
But it's not quite as much as like there's not like a Louisiana. Like if you're in Louisiana, you're a LSU fan. Like no one's joining the Louisiana bandwagon.
No, I 100, and I think you hit it really well earlier. Like the East is more capable of pulling bandwagon fans from other Power 5 schools, where the West is like entrenched in SEC country, and it's like, yeah, South Alabama's not pulling anyone from Auburn or Alabama.
That's what
Southern Miss isn't pulling anyone from Ole Miss or Mississippi State.
And they've got some good football teams, right? So they're playing decent football, but it just feels like the East, like their future to me is way more exciting than the West. So just putting that out there.
So give all of the Sun Belt West teams to Conference USA is what Bennett is saying.
Yeah, I'd like that. No, because it would strengthen them too much. So maybe you just give
That's
them
a great point, actually.
Just give them Arkansas State and keep Troy and South Alabama, and then the other teams can go out to the FCS. I don't know.
Damn, you are really
figure it out. If South Alabama is going to beat JMU by like 30 this weekend, I'm just going to have to like talk about the West for an hour next week.